Good evening and welcome to the Utilities Committee of Troy City Council. It is 6:10 p.m. January 3rd, 2017. My name is Doug Tremblay. To my right is John Terwilliger. To my left is Bill Twiss. And we are here to give recommendations concerning three different projects. Mr. Titterington, did you want to address each one individually or all together?
If you just want to approve all three of them, that'd be fine with me, but we can do them one at a time.
Well, if you want to give us the information on all three, then I guess we can do it.
And actually, City Engineer Joe Rhodes is here to answer the technical questions. The first item is asking for bid authorization for the South Stanfield Road stormwater project. That is, we're requesting authorization up to not to exceeding $125,000. That was included in the 2017 budget, and it would pick up public storm that is being routed through private detention pond out in the area of Morning Glory Circle and Commerce Center Boulevard. It is to accept additional stormwater. That is a more regional concern, and so that's why we asked for it to be in the budget, and we are asking to authorize that for bid. That you authorize that for bid. That is a stormwater project, so we should probably just look at that one first individually.
Okay.
We are not asking for emergency legislation.
Okay. John, did you have any questions?
This facility or this procedure, it's already established. It was part of a plan. The retention pond and stuff, everything's set. There's no...
Yeah, that's already in place. That was developed several years ago. I'd say more than a decade ago, probably. Yeah. And there's since been development across the road on the other side, and so the stormwater impact has increased. And so we want to connect that to the public storm system so that we are taking care of it and not backing it up into the private detention area.
Bill, do you have any questions?
Well, just to go along with that, with the expansion of things there, are we afraid the pond's just not going to be able to handle if we had massive storms, or is that pond only able to handle so much, or it helps us? What's sort of the benefit to us to be able to move that stormwater through the system?
When the pond was originally designed, it was only for Traditions apartment complex. Okay. So now we have taken street runoff and put it into Traditions apartment complex and not provided an outlet. There's a soakaway in the back of their lot so it kind of just water rises, it goes into the soakaway, and then it soaks in when time allows. What's happening is it's starting, probably not starting, it has in previous storms backed up, so it's flooding some of putting water in their parking lot, things like that. So the engineering department's asking that we provide an outlet for that storm so that we're not flooding their area any longer. It has not created any property damage. I think there's some fish just because it's standing water. There may be some fish, things like that, but other than that, no property damage. So that's why we're asking.
And our system's able to handle the additional stormwater that would come in,
yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, so we're just asking to route the existing line that we have coming across the road to go down to north to Commerce Center Boulevard.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, Ms. Mayor.
Will this require any tear up of the pavement that's on South Stanfield at all, or any of that area?
No, it's actually all behind the curb.
Any other questions? What is your choice on?
Move forward.
Move forward?
I would move forward.
I'll make it unanimous. Let's move forward, and there's no emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The second item is, again, in the 2017 budget, we included in council authorized $500,000 for water line improvements. That's part of the water master plan that was developed in 2014. We've identified sections of several water lines on Franklin, Ellis, and South Counts that are either 4-inch or 6-inch water lines. They're undersized, and we want to increase those to 8-inch water lines. And so we are asking for authorization to go out to bid in an amount not to exceed the $500,000 amount. Again, we are not requesting emergency legislation.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, Bill?
Yeah, just how do we determine which area might be what we hit first? Because I imagine there's 4 to 6 inch lines around the city throughout, or is this sort of one that gets higher traffic? Or
Yeah, I mean, when we did the assessment during the master plan, took into consideration, water pressure, past the history, and what kind of water breaks we've had, the kind of demand on those lines,
Fire flow.
fire flow, and just a bunch of different variables, and identified that those are the weakest links that we feel we need to concentrate on first.
okay.
John, you have a
None
question?
here?
Does anyone else on council have any questions?
No.
What is your,
Move forward.
move forward?
I would move forward.
Let's make it unanimous, move forward, and I don't believe there's any emergency on this.
There is not.
Okay, all right, move forward without emergency.
The third item is actually one that is being forwarded on behalf of the auditor, who is out of town this week. We are asking that you authorize an application to the Ohio Water Development Authority. This would be for a loan of approximately $3.1 million. This would offset the costs of the 750,000 gallon water tank that is being constructed on Stanfield. This financing is an alternative to going out to the bond market. Mr. Frigge has identified that the cost, the overall financing costs of using this mechanism is less than what would be incurred if we went to traditional municipal bonding. And so he is asking that council approve that application because of the timing, because we want to lock down the interest rate as we typically do with financing. We are asking for emergency legislation. The $3,098,000 is the amount that $653 is what Mr. Frigge and his financial people have identified as what is needed to offset any of the construction and related costs of that project.
Thank you. Any questions?
Obtaining the best financing rates, that's why it's emergency.
Yes. And using this tool, which we don't use very often, is because this interest rate is lower than what he believes we can get out of the bond market at this point. The drawback, if there is one, to using this tool versus the traditional bond market is that with OWDA money, it's a 30-year borrow, and we do not have the right to pay that off early. That's why we are selective in when we use it. We have in the past used it, but again sparingly and for small projects, because we like the flexibility of being able to refinance, to pay off early, to redebt, if you will, later on. And in this case, we would not be able to do that. That's one of the provisions and regulations of the Ohio program. But there is no concern with us doing that, we don't believe.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, 20-year, not 30-year.
Any questions?
Anyone else on council have any questions? What is your,
Move forward
with emergency?
with emergency.
Forward with.
Okay. Well, it's unanimous, move forward with emergency.
Thank you.
Is there anything else to come before Utilities Committee?
No, sir.
We are adjourned.